Hello, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor. Thanks for checking me out. I'm driving to work today. Today is September 21st, 2024. And I wanted to tell you a story. As I speak about it, I think it'll make more and more sense. So, when I was a little kid, I think I was about 10 years old. I could look up the dates exactly, but I was really, like all kids, I wanted something to, get into, and I got into, for a little bit, Herbie the Love Bug, that little bug, that car. It was a Volkswagen Bug that they made it in these books to talk to people, and it was kids' friends, and it was great. And they promoted this movie coming out called Herbie the Love Bug, and I was so excited to see it. But it was $4 for the movie back then, and that was a lot of money. And what else could a kid do? I just begged my mom and dad, please, gotta go see it, please, 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 over and over and over and over, for days. And finally, my mother relented, and I remember, and I went with my mom, and we went to see it, and I was so excited, and I watched the movie, and I thought it was great. And then I got home, and a few hours later, my mother found me weeping unconsolably. I was just crying my eyes out and just weeping, and I was heartbroken. And she said, "Why are you weeping?" And then part of it was that got me even more upset was I couldn't articulate why I was so upset. And I said it was the movie. She said, "Oh, I shouldn't have took you to that movie." I said, "No." And the reason that I was so upset was that I couldn't recall the movie. I could, a couple of flashes of some scenes, and that was it. Like, I wanted to relive the movie and be in that state of euphoria that I enjoyed. And it was so fleeting. It was gone. And I didn't have the capacity, the memory, the ability to remember the memory banks. I just couldn't remember it. And I have to tell you, I don't know if everybody was like that then. Maybe I was the only one, or maybe it was common. I don't know. Memory, I'll say this, is like a reflex. And the more you use it, the better it is, right? And now, anyway. But then I was just so upset. And I said, I just have to remember things. I have to remember things. It just doesn't, it's killing me to not remember things. So I just tried harder. I don't know if that makes sense, but I tried really hard to remember things all the time. And then I remember if I got excited and I would go to a movie, right when the movie started, the credits, I would say to myself, I would say, "Recorders on." And I would try to memorize each and every scene so I could recall it later. And I understand part of it now. I watched a video about why we don't remember our dreams. And I can tell you that if somebody had perfect memory and could actually get into their memory and visualize it like they were there in real life again, maybe they wouldn't come out of their memories. Maybe they would just be in a coma, reliving that over and over and just not being made aware of the real world. So I think there's a reason why we don't remember things. It's a survival trait. But the other aspect of it is that when we have the same memories as other people, that builds a bridge, and we could speak the same language. We are friends then. And I think it's important that people understand that when we have that same, we have that memory. What would you do when you were maybe younger, or maybe with MySpace? Does anybody remember that? You would go on MySpace and you would post your favorite books, your favorite songs, your favorite things, and other people would say, oh, that's my favorite thing. We could be friends. I like that too. I enjoyed it. I have the same memories of that. Or we grew up in the same neighborhood, and you say, oh, we grew up in the same things. We did the same things. We have those memories together. We're friends. We're brothers. We're relatives. We grew up. That's what I'm saying to you. And on this channel, sometimes I talk about scary things, about how we have different memories, but we experience the same thing, but now there's different memories. And part of being a higher dimensional being is being aware of these things. And so then people will do the opposite, is what I'm saying. Instead of being excited that I have a different memory from you about a certain situation, be upset with me, And instead of being friendly, being loving, it would be the opposite, hating me. And I think it's important to try to love me. The reason is that God loves me, and I know He sent me on a mission, as He sent a lot of you on missions. So I think it's important that we try to love each other. And what is love? Love, when you love something, you know all about it. You try to understand what it is instead of just rejecting it. I hate that, and you don't want to, be involved with that. And that's something you're rejecting. When you love something, it's something when you're drawing close to it and you feel simpatico. You feel the same. You want to understand it more. And I think if God loves me enough to show me things, then you should love me enough to understand them. And that's what I wanted to say today, because I think it's easy to hate if somebody's separate and somebody has something else that's wrong, and they say, well, I remember this differently. I know that this was a different thing. They're going to get angry, and they're going to get separate, and then they're going to say, you're not the same as me. You're different. You're the stranger. And the stranger is the enemy. I'm not the enemy. I'm the enemy. If you're a bad person, then I'm the enemy. Otherwise, if you're trying to find the truth, I'm someone you should love. And I just wanted to put that out there because this has been on my mind about Herbie the Love Bug, and how I was so upset. And what I wanted to say about it is that, I guess I was built imperfect. But instead of blaming my creator, I blamed myself. And I said, I have to make myself better. I have to improve. It's not God's fault the way I am. It's my fault. And I could remember things better. So I think our memory's a reflex. It's a muscle that we need to build up and work on all the time. And I try to remember things all the time. And I write things down over and over. If I'm learning something, I've been learning long passages of information, and I write it down over and over and over, and recite it and try different ways to memorize things. I'm always working on my memory and trying to get it better. So I just thought I'd put this out there on the web, that we really need to come together instead of being separate, and I think that'll help with the understanding of everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share. Have a great day. Bye-bye.